Hello and welcome to Lisa Ann Can. I'm Lisa Ann and my little elf helper here.
I can't drink while you're talking.
We're drinking hot cocoa. Actually, she's drinking hot cocoa. We're eating the crumbs from some peppermint bark. Here's the beautiful plate of peppermint bark that I made this morning. We're going to save that for later. I'm drinking hot almond milk with a little vanilla in it. Serenity and I are going to do a little ornament craft today. So we have this project we've been doing forever, haven't we? Mm-hmm. Making ornaments out of Christmas cards. Here's a little bitty one, and they're so pretty.
This one says 2014.
Here's one. This one, I took a hole puncher and punched holes in the little pieces and filled it with potpourri. It's long since lost its smell. That was a long time ago. So anyway, I'll snap a picture and stick it right here. And we'll show you how to make it. All you need is some old Christmas cards. We always keep ours and do these crafts. I learned this craft in 4-H when I was like Janie Bell's age, 14 I guess. And we sit down and do this every now and then. She sure is slurping. So you will need something to draw circles with. The small ones, like I've used a quarter, like these little ornaments here, this size. These I used a quarter to make the circles with. That's sometimes hard for little hands, so you can use something bigger like a milk cap or a spice lid is a good idea. We've got these salt and pepper shakers. We're going to use those for making our circles. So usually, unless you have a really giant card, it's going to take 2 cards, so it's nice to kind of match up the colors a little bit. So like this Santa Claus has a lot of red in it. So here's a barn that has some red, so I could cut from these. I have one that's got a lot of blue in it. Charlie Brown here has some blue in it, and this one has blue. So kind of match your cards color-wise and cut 20 circles. 20 circles. And that's what we're going to do. Are you ready? Ready, set, go.
Yeah, it's not a race, Mom.
Jingle bells, jingle all the way. So for example, I got 6 circles on the back of this one. Okay, so Serenity is drawing her circles on the picture side because there's this beautiful deer and she wants to make sure she gets that picture in her ornament, right? Yeah. I've done that before. It's a good idea. Don't be tempted to put your circles across the crease in the card. It'll interfere with them folding correctly. 12, 13, 14, 15. So I got 9 on the back of this one. It's also fun sometimes to look and see who the cards were from. You only have the top part of yours, or do you? Who's that one from? Margot and John. That is my grandmother's brother, John, and he passed away last year before. Margot's from Germany. You might remember her. I think you met her once or twice.
I don't remember.
Mine is from Jean and Glenda Welch.
Mm-hmm, of course.
All right, and I was able to get the rest of the circles on this one. So now I have to cut them out. But first, peppermint. You have a spoon?
Yeah.
Would you give me a stir? All right, now you just carefully cut out the 20 circles. And by the way, I do have a hot glue gun plugged in here, so if you have a hot glue gun, have that standing by on ready. If you don't, that's okay. You can use Elmer's glue, but you do have to set it aside for several hours to let it dry. Darlene Hickman, that was the real estate agent that sold us the house.
This house?
Mm-hmm. What you're going to do is fold 1/3 of the circle towards you. Open it back up, and at that point where it's folded, fold another 1/3, and then you can lay both of those down, and then it's easier to fold that last 1/3. So again, you've turned your circle into a triangle. That's the goal, with the picture side facing up. Fold a 1/3 and flatten it. Fold the next 1/3 and flatten it, and then close those both together. And then the last 1/3. Okay, so you're going to keep doing that, and you're going to have your collection. We're going to start putting them together. 1, 2, 3, not 6, it's 5. I'll show you the assembly next. Okay, once you have all of your circles, I missed one, turned into triangles, the next step is going to be assembling them. But before we begin assembly, you should choose something to hang the ornament from. Like here's a ribbon. This one has the very thin gold string. I think I'm going to use this real pretty glittery red ribbon. So I'll go ahead and cut me a piece large enough to make a hanger. I bought these at Dollar Tree. So I mentioned if you've got a couple like plain pieces, like this has a gray background, so I'm going to make sure those go on the bottom. And then there was one that was really white. These I'll probably put on the bottom as well. So you choose 5 for the top, maybe a red, a white, a red. There's a kind of brown, and here's a nice gray one. All right, so I've got my 5 center pieces. I'm going to bring you closer so you can see this part up close. Okay, so you just pick one piece, have your glue gun ready, run a bead of glue on this side, choose one, and just make sure the bottoms match up. Put your 2 triangles together like that. Give them a little squeeze. Okay, so then you're going to pick the next one and do the same thing right there. So I'm going to put a little bead of glue. I want them to go together like this, but I want the edges to be lined up on the inside. Okay. The next one, I'm going to attach here. It's going to go here, so flip around, make sure it's lined up on the inside. So piece number 5 is going to be the last piece. But before I do that, that's when I want to insert my hanger. Glue it first on each side. Then I will run my last 2 beads of glue at the same time. I'm going to put a little more up under the edge of that ribbon and then across the top. And the last piece, and I want to do it from the inside to line it up nicely. And I didn't do it perfectly, but it's good. Give it a squeeze. And so there's the beginning. All right, so there's 5 flat spots, and that's where you're going to attach the next 5. So choose maybe again a random pattern, like there's a little brown, there's a little gray, there's red, there's green, and maybe here's one that's got. All right, so I chose the next 5, and I'm just going to run one at a time and attach those. All right, the next 5 are attached. So what I'm going to do is set this one aside. I'm going to repeat the same thing with my last 10. I'm building the bottom first, so I'm going to take the plainest ones and put all those on the bottom. Okay, so there's the bottom. So you've got the top and the bottom, and they look just alike. And you can see that they're just going to fit together, and they have to be glued in between. But once you start gluing, it starts to get very confusing. So you might have to number them. Don't know. Last one. You can, while the glue is still wet, you can kind of pinch and slide. And okay, that didn't turn out too bad. But it's kind of plain. And as you can see when you look at the edges, like this one sticks up tall, and then behind there's a gap. So what I like to do here is take the scissors and just give them a little trim.
So using hot glue gun.
Trim all the edges that are sticking up. So the next step is glitter. We only had one color on hand, and that's white, but that's fine. It'll be beautiful.
Beautiful.
You can see from looking at these, how the glue is on each edge. And how I'm going to do that is I'm going to dump the glitter in the bowl. I'll run a bead and then dip it in the glitter. That's the easiest way, but really the super easy way is this one we made a long time ago, and we used the glitter glue hot glue sticks, and those turned out very beautifully. So
I don't know if they'll be able to see that in this
if
light.
you've gotten this far with Elmer's glue, then you need to set it aside and let it dry completely before you do the glitter step. What I'm going to do is run a glue bead right on top of a ridge and dip. You can see on that.
Not quite done. Halfway done with this.
And just keep repeating. Glue strip right on the very edge. Dip. Because this is white glitter, it's not showing up, but it'll sparkle on the tree. All right, well, I finished mine before Serenity did, even after I messed up a few times. Did you mess up?
Not really.
No. It's a little tricky lining the things up. Well, if you're dyslexic, it's tricky. I'm displeased with how I did my ribbon. Renty did her ribbon perfectly. She squeezed it together and glued it like in one spot instead of like I did on each side. But really, you can't tell from here. Here, can I show them close up?
Mine has a peppermint inside of it.
Oh, yes. So they turned out really pretty. Renty's not quite with the glitter, finished with glitter, but she put a surprise in hers so that 100 years from now,
If
Her
anyone
great-
breaks it.
her great grandbaby can find a peppermint. Right? All right, we didn't say it was easy, but it was fun. Yes? And they're pretty, and it's a nice way to use your leftover Christmas cards instead of throwing them away, especially the very pretty ones that you want to keep. All right, well, thank you so much for watching. Merry Christmas. Hope you'll try this at home. Leave us a comment if you do. Thanks. See you next time.